My name is Montana Houston, and I'm currently a senior at Franklin High School. Before I begin, I just want to feel more of the energy. We already have an amazing amount of energy in here, but can we start it off with YEOC again? So to any guests in the room, basically how that works is that I will say YE, and everyone will respond OC. Got it? Okay, so YE.
OC.
Ooh, that's okay. I didn't expect it. YE.
OC.
I love it. I love it. Everyone, do you feel the passion? I feel the passion. I feel excitement to celebrate being a part of an amazing program, to celebrate coming together, celebrating each other, and also maybe to my fellow seniors out there, excitement for graduating. We're almost there. Feels like forever. So when I just heard the YEOC, I got an immediate flashback to the first YEOC that we were introduced in September. And I felt, again, the passion to be a part of an amazing program, passion to be in a great area to learn. Everyone's excited, everyone's ready to engage, and just an absolutely amazing community. And that was, for me, a first program where I was able to experience that. And that is why YEOC is truly unique and special, because it gives that avenue for students that haven't experienced that before. So this might sound a little cliche, but YEOC is not just a program, it's honestly a way of life. I believe that because YEOC has instilled great principles in me that I can value well beyond my years in high school and college. For example, do you remember the professional fashion show that Alvin led? Yeah, we practically had our own Project Runway or episode of What and What Not to Wear. It was great. Also, the How to Build a PowerPoint workshop. And also, don't even get me started on the Woke 101 session led by Danielle and Tina. It was great, it was great. YEOC has given us minorities opportunities to learn professional key tenets that most adults learn by trial and error, that we're having the opportunity to learn well beyond other people our age. And so that's also another reason why YEOC is so unique and important to me. So growing up, I have been basically raised to be a Husky. Raise your hand if you're either wanting to apply or will apply or already applied to UW. Yeah, that's a lot. I'm right there with you. My family, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this as well, UW is like the school to go to. It's in-state, it's a great nationally acclaimed institution, and so what isn't there to love? My mom was definitely one of those parents that was like, I was already a UW student as soon as I came out of the womb. She would say things like, oh, it's right in Seattle, so close to home, why don't you just go there? You've been there so many times. Or even extreme things like, why don't you want to go to UW? You want to leave me? Where are your loyalties to me? As you can tell, my college process was a little hectic. But that is why YEOC has been such a great supportive mechanism for me, because I was able to get a lot out of the senior workshops that were provided in session, such as Corey's The Coding Financial Aid workshop. That was a lot of help. And also, I honestly think I wouldn't be able to do my own personal statement had it not been for that day when we were in the computer labs and we had numerous editors available. I honestly think I would have just sent in my lengthy personal statement with a note on top like, sorry, good luck, I don't know what to do with it either. And that is why I've had so much success in YEOC so far. So when it finally came time to decide where I wanted to go, I had more than 8 college acceptances to choose from. Thank you. And among that list was UW and University of Southern California, my dream school. And so I had a dilemma, where did I want to attend? And YEOC, again, came through with lots of ample support. I had to decide if I wanted to be at home where my family and friends are, or where I wanted to be, which was anywhere else. How many people want to either go out of state or live out of state, travel abroad at some point in their lives? Yeah, I'm right there with you. I intend on double majoring in international relations with an emphasis on global business and Japanese language and culture. And so, yeah, very lengthy. And that involves a lot of traveling abroad, and so I figured the best baby step to that would be to go out of state and get that experience at a college level. And so after considering but not listening to a lot of biased guidance from my mom, You want to wave? Say hi. Love you all. Love you. I decided to commit to the University of Southern California, and and although I will not attend the UW, I will always feel a Husky at heart, and I know that the connections and friendships that I fostered in YEOC will span across the nation and past our time in college. So the greatest takeaway that I've learned in YEOC that I want to share with all of you is don't limit yourself and instead take action. When we had the Maya's restaurant case competition earlier in the year, I was initially very intimidated. It was the first time that I had been in a situation where we were given a task the day of and we were expected to compete on it and just like to know it like from top to bottom. But with my team, we were able to utilize each other's strengths to become one of the most effective groups, and we like immediately took action. Who's going to do the PowerPoint? Who's going to do the script? And we were able to work together, and it led to our first place in the competition. And that's when I learned that and had a bond. Oh, sorry. And had a bond with and had an experience that I believe each group at YEOC has experienced at some point, which is a powerful appreciation for the group. So through and through, YEOC has been an amazing, amazing experience, and being a youth executive of color is honestly an honor. We pave the way for others to follow. We will make history, and we have more than enough resources that we've learned in this institution, in this program, to make that happen. And so thank you all. I am honored to participate. YEOC is an amazing program. I've praised this opportunity 1,000 times over, and thank you.
There's a Kanye West song, "Everything I'm Not Made Me Everything I Am." And I think that really applies to what I'm going to tell you all tonight. I think there's this kind of myth of mentors that, you know, we come here at the beginning of the year and you get introduced to us and you get introductions like what Emmeline just told you. You get this grand introduction of our accomplishments and what we've done. But it's really the things that I'm not that have made me what I am. All my accomplishments are from the things that I am actually not. For instance, I'm not from a financially stable family. You know, there's months where my family couldn't make ends meet. You question whether the lights are going to be on for the next month. You know, at the end of the month, you're eating a cup of noodles and a quesadilla because you're waiting for the next paycheck. But it's things like this that teach you about resourcefulness. It's things like this that give you appreciation for what you do have. Another instance. Go ahead. Another instance, what I'm not from a healthy family. When I was 7 years old, my dad suffered from a stroke, which unfortunately left him with aphasia, but fortunately he survived. And aphasia essentially takes away your ability to effectively communicate. So simple phrase like "I love you" or simple dad advice was no longer an option. When I was 17 years old, my brother was diagnosed with manic bipolar. That's my older brother, 2 years older. So he was going through these extreme phases of paranoia, and it really had an effect on me. And during the same time, my mom had her first health scare. And my mom's the rock of my family. She holds the family together. She makes everything possible for my family. So when she had her first health scare, and my brother was going through this mental health scare, I didn't know what was going to happen. I really didn't. But there was one Saturday per month I could come to YEOC, and I was surrounded by individuals who looked like me, and I felt comfortable at home. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you right now that the adversity that I faced is not a unique experience, in that I know that for sure each one of the mentors in training here and the mentors have faced some sort of adversity in their lives. And I know many of you have as well. This without a shadow of a doubt. But it's this adversity that shapes us into who we are. You know, that I now have a grown sense of empathy, a grown sense of compassion, resourcefulness, like I said. And these are the things that have made me who I am today. Through the hard things that I faced, it's made me who I am today. So it goes back to that everything I'm not made me everything I am. So I don't want you all to see us all up here today and have these accomplishments announced and think that there's not a downside. You know, you're trying to figure out your lives, we're trying to figure out our lives. The only difference is that we're just at a different stage in our lives. We're just as confused as you were when I was sitting in year C just a couple years ago. I did YEOC my senior year. And so, looking back, there's no key to success. There's no formula. There's no certain path to follow. Everyone has their own journey. But what I can tell you is what I look back at now and think about, wow, that really helped me get through that time. That really helped me get to where I am today. For instance, saying yes to challenging opportunities. And that's something you've all already done today. All of you sitting here today have said yes to a challenging opportunity in which you participated in a case competition in just one day. You're all here today because you said yes to your mentors when they asked you if you're going to be here today. That's something I didn't do my senior year when I was in YEOC. I wasn't at the case competition. So you all are all one step ahead of me already in your path. But looking back, the case competition is absolutely something I wish I did when I was a senior in YEOC. It will lay an absolutely beneficial foundation for you going into your college experience, whether that's at UW or any college across the nation, or any job you enter. I can't tell you the amount of interviews I've had where I reference case competitions I've done. And it's case competitions like the one Emmeline mentioned, where I had the opportunity to go to Brazil. That's something I would have never imagined possible when I was sitting in year C. I remember coming to YEOC session about study abroad, and I was just sitting there thinking, man, who are these amazing people that are able to travel the globe? I would have never envisioned it possible. But my freshman year, because of the YEOC community, I was able to go to Brazil. It was saying yes to a challenging opportunity in which my mentor, Emmeline, reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be on a team of juniors and seniors at the time, and I was just a freshman. I was sitting there that first day thinking, how do I have anything good to offer to this team? But I found my voice. I said yes to that challenging opportunity, and it led me to compete in LA, and led me to have a week vacation in Brazil. We weren't doing anything, we were just chilling. So it's saying yes to those challenging opportunities and staying connected to the YEOC community. One of the most important things I did when I was at the University of Washington is go to the YEOC seminar class. That's a seminar class that's offered after your senior year in YEOC. And it connects you with a small community on campus, and I can tell you that many of my best friends today were in that class. Shout out to Wale in the back, shout out to Sari, shout out to Bahar, shout out to all the mentors in training today who I now call my best friends, my roommates, and my business partners. It's an incredible family. It's not just a community, it's a family that's built at YEOC. So I really, I can't emphasize enough to stay connected with this community. Looking back, it's one of the most important things I've done in my experience, period. Staying connected in the community. When I'm going through a hard time, when I'm still trying to figure out my life, I'll show up at Corey's office and I can shed some tears and just have a hug and be told it's gonna be okay. And she's gonna connect me with some people who've been in my shoes and can share their experience with me. And lastly, I wanna encourage you all to be open about your experiences. Being open about my experiences is what led me to talk to you all tonight. Being open about my experiences has given me the opportunity to be a part of some amazing programs like YEOC. You all must have been open about your experiences to be here today when you wrote your YEOC application. So just continue doing that. All these things I'm mentioning today are things you're already doing. Just continue doing it. Continue being a part of the YEOC community, continue being open about your experiences, and continue saying yes to challenging opportunities. I just want to give one last shout out to everybody here. One last shout out to Emmeline, one last shout out to my fellow mentors in training, and the YEOC community, the fellow mentors, and most of all, Corey Miller. Thank you very much.
So I'm gonna address the elephant in the room first. That would be my leg. So there wasn't anything that could keep me away from this experience. And I was just sitting there talking with everyone. I'm like, well, after those two speakers, why do you need me? Man, all those mics that were being dropped, I was Felix too. But I'm going to address the elephant in the room, and then I do have some prepared remarks. As you can see, I am a really big Warriors fan. So we took the title away from Chicago on April 13th. Steph Curry got injured in game 1, and Nicole Felix went down with him. Literally. I was at the game. Afterwards, I was in the parking lot. I was talking with my friends and just talking about everything and saying how we're going to go back to back. Those Drake fans out there might get it. And I jumped up and down, and when I came down, I heard this big pop. Heard the noise out there? And felt like somebody punched me in the back of my leg and ran off, and I found out that I ruptured my Achilles. Yeah, so I called Andre and Katie and told them, I told them it wouldn't be anything that would stop me. So although I got a Warriors blue cast, I have UW socks to wrap it. So pray for my recovery. Steph and I were supposed to be back for game 3, but I heard he's not playing tonight. My doctor called me and told me I had to wait another day for my cast to be taken off. So I definitely am channeling my inner Curry. So it's just an honor to be here. I flew up last night. I had an amazing dinner with the LA team, with the Seattle team. That helps to administer this program. We were at 6-7 Edgewater, such an amazing view. And it's interesting, I flew up from California and it's raining there and it's beautiful here. So imagine that. So I am just really excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm a really big music fan, so you'll hear throughout my presentation some lyrics. And the first song that came to mind when Katie and Andre asked me was, wow, I wish that I could have this moment for life. It's in this moment right here that I feel so alive. Nicki Minaj. I'm gonna crack you up, not So let me start off by once again first thanking you, Katie, thanking you, Andre, for even extending the ask. It's an amazing opportunity. And when they first asked me, I was like, why? Why me? With former speakers that you have that sit in New York in the C-suite, like our former CEO, Jim Turley, our global talent leader, Nancy Altobello, or our director of the EY Foundation who funded this program, Ellen Glazerman. And also my mentor, my sponsor, and my amazing friend, and some of you may know him, Ken Boyer. Why would you want to hear what I had to say? Why? And then I had to quickly shift that way of thinking in regards to not questioning why, but going to well, why not me? And then, if not me, then who? I have a long history with this organization. We talked about it being around for 9 years. And so after I changed that concept, I started to look back at the impact that I had on the YEOC program, on our EY professionals who administer it, and then also all of you who are participating in it. So once again, Katie and Andre, thank you. I'm really humbled to be here. So let me tell you a little bit about my connection to the YEOC program. My involvement came about 8 years ago. And unfortunately, one of my proteges, Robel Isaac, who's a senior manager with Ernst & Young and one of my most successful hires, came to me and said, Nicole, you have to come and hear about this program. You have to come and see what's going on. And so we sat down, we talked about it. He said that EY had to have a seat at the table. And so at the time I was in campus recruiting, and I report to someone named Diane Gramo. And Diane knows that when I come into the office, I come, and if I'm going to use or extend my capital, it's for a really big reason. And so she sat down and listened to what Robel and I had to say, and together helped us to come and get a proposal together to become an exclusive sponsor. When I remember that day, it's interesting because I flew up here and I'm flying out tonight. I remember the day that I flew in and came to UW's campus, and myself and Diane flew in, and we came and we met with Jay Elliott, and Jay is here today, so I want to ask Jay to stand up for me. Woo. For those of you who do not know Jay, this program right here is actually Jay's legacy that she left behind. And so when I had the opportunity to fly up here and to meet with her and talk about what it was that we were going to do from an EY perspective in regards to sponsoring this program, we thought maybe we would sponsor a luncheon, maybe some type of reception or what have you. And we got Ellen Glazerman on the phone, and we talked about all the amazing things that they were doing here. And we went from cookie cutter dreams to cake boss dreams, I guess, because we went from requesting 4 digits to receiving 5 digits over a 3-year period and being the exclusive sponsor. And so that was not a small feat. So Jay, thank you for your vision. So as I just shared, in those 8 years, we watched the program go from not only operational sponsorship, but to also be able to secure scholarship dollars. I remember the first time Kim Boyer came to see this program, and the students that were presenting in his case competition, or in the case competition, similar to most of you did today, and he pulled me to the side and he said, I want to give $10,000 scholarships out. And I called Jay and I said, Jay, we got to figure this out. We got $10,000. And I think that second year or so we gave either $10,000 or $20,000. And then after the conclusion of that 3-year process, Jay had bigger visions in regards to bringing on the mentors and needed more money and came to EY, and EY gave more money. And we not only gave more money, but we gave our professionals to actually carve out their time to be able to work with YEOC around the clock. So we gave out scholarships like those that we gave out to Yesenia. Is Yesenia here today? I had an opportunity to speak to a few before I gave my speech today, and she was one who helped me out, and she told me about what the scholarship meant to her. We were able to fund mentors, such as the mentors that you all are working through, but specifically Bahari and Carlos. I know Carlos is here. Is Bahari here? Thank you. So we were able to fund them in being mentors. And we were able to start to bring on EY interns through the YEOC alumni. And many have spoken about becoming mentors. One of the things that I was just recently most proud of is that not only the external things that we're doing, but also some of the internal things that we did. With all the hard work that our EY professionals have been doing, I was able to witness them to apply to what EY calls a Better Begins With You experience. And I believe Katie and Andre just came back from London in December in regards to representing the YEOC program in our internal competition. So it was in those moments that I realized that through all these YEOC milestones, that I had my personal passion, and my personal passion that I was able to administer through EY. And that was through my impact that I have on communities, families, and grounding corporate America. So, thank you. So, let me tell you a little bit about me. I spoke a little bit about EY. Now let me tell you about me personally. And I've heard a little bit of myself in the stories that Montana shared and Alvin shared. But let me tell you about me and why they flew me up here to speak to you today. you saw my really long title. I'm what you called in EY's America's Inclusiveness Center of Excellence Assistant Director. I'm a diversity consultant. When I was talking to Yesenia, she said, "You're just a really cool person with a long title." So I like that title better, but I don't know if I'll be able to put it on my business card. But I grew up in deep East Oakland. And I am unsure what the equivalent of that is to Seattle. But I grew up on the street where I had to be in the house when the street lights came on. I was the only one on my block, my sister and I, we were the only one on our blocks who knew our father. Our parents were the only one on that block that was actually married. I wasn't able to go beyond my block to the neighborhood park that was around the corner because of drugs and gangs that hung out there. And it was interesting, I was dating a friend right now, and we were at the park, and one of the things that he had asked about was, when was the last time you've been to the park? And I was like, you know, I don't really hang out at the park. I wonder why. And writing this speech, now that I understand, it was because of my upbringing. My sister and I were, like I said, the only ones on our block that knew our parents, and we literally had to defend ourselves. And what I meant by that is that the neighbors next door, they sold drugs. Of course, there was jealousy because of the things that we received from our family. And one day, my sister, she got bit by the neighbor in her stomach. And my father had to take her to the hospital or what have you. But one of the things in that moment that we learned was that we had to learn how to defend ourselves. So my father enrolled us in Taekwondo in the East Oakland Youth Development Center. And unfortunately, my sister got bit. But that experience took me to a youth center to where I gained 3 core principles. And those principles were discipline, obedience, and confidence. And those are the 3 core principles that follows me right now. So, by the time I was in middle school, I had been to one funeral of a friend who killed himself at the school's gym during playing Russian roulette with a gun. And so I heard one of the case competitions today about thermal response, and so it instantly took me back to that time. I also went to 2 baby showers of my friends, and one of them asked me to be be her daughter's godmother in the 8th grade. Yeah, you heard me right, in the 8th grade. So I love to participate in things like culture, sports, and play. I played the violin, I was in dance class, and I was even like a guard on the basketball team. And so that's how I channel my inner Steph Curry. And then I got ahead of the game by going on the 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C. And so at that stage in my life, I really didn't know what I wanted to be or do when I grew up. But the one thing that I knew is that my friends had voted me most likely to succeed, so I knew I would be successful and exceed all of their expectations. At a young age, I started my own business. I sold Kool-Aid, frozen Kool-Aid to the neighborhood kids, and in selling those frozen Kool-Aid pops, I was able to raise enough money to pay for my school clothes and to pay for my school supplies, alleviating some of the financial burden that my family had. And so in that time, I didn't realize I was doing that. In that time, I didn't realize I had entrepreneurial skills. I didn't realize that I had low overhead, I had employees and my mom and dad, and I was helping to start businesses. And so as I grew older, one of the things that I did, and you heard it in my bio, is that I created a nonprofit that shadowed my middle teenage years experience. And that nonprofit is called Life Courses. Life Courses stands for Learn, Inspire, Focus, and Elevate. And what we do is we teach middle school students financial literacy and entrepreneurship skills to the students and also their parents. So I transitioned from middle school to high school, and I relocated from Oakland to Hayward. And when I got to high school, it was a really different experience. I lived in a neighborhood that there were a lot of different individuals. I went to a school that was very diverse. And I really got involved and started channeling like my love for math and dance. But the one thing that I didn't have in all of that was someone that would expose me to programs like the YEOC. Someone that would expose me to career options and professionals such as what Ernst & Young does. And it was interesting to hear Jasmine Louis' story in regards to how she learned about the YEOC program through her marketing professor, our teacher at Merced Island High School. I didn't have anyone like that. So that's a gift that that teachers are being able to extend to the students to help to shape their careers. I did have excellent grades and I was in the top 10% of my class. But the one thing that I knew for sure, I wasn't going to college. I had no intentions on going because that wasn't a discussion that my family and I had at the dinner table. It wasn't because going to college wasn't important, but graduating from high school was more important. Graduating without having a child, just based on some of the different things that I spoke about, was more important. And so when my geometry teacher learned that I wasn't going to college, he immediately took me to my counselor, and I was able to get in college 1 month before I graduated from high school because of the fact that I had good grades. And so his investment in me literally changed my life, like Corey Laxton is doing, and how Corey Miller, and Pam Laxton does for all of the youth here in the YEOC program. So I was oblivious to college. Since my family never talked about it, and we never really prepared for it financially. So my father, who was a blue-collar worker, took on additional shifts in order to pay for my college, and that I was able to graduate without any student loans. Since I was planning on being a cosmetologist, I didn't necessarily know what to major in, and it kind of reminded me of a conversation that I had with Carlos when he mentioned about just looking to figure out what college majors that he wanted to major in. At the very last minute, I decided to major in business and accounting because I had a cousin who relocated from Louisiana to California, and it was able to work out for her, so I thought it would work out for me. And I was happy that I followed in her footsteps. I joined organizations like the National Association of Black Accountants, where I went on my first out-of-state trip to Texas through a student conference. I got involved in an organization known as Inroads, where I gained my professional skills, and I joined the best sorority ever, Delta Sigma Theta, which really got me involved in the community. And so it was those 3 organizations that were very pivotal in my life, and that helped me to open up the doors to corporate America and provide me with individuals that looked like me to look up to, like Alvin mentioned earlier. So for someone who didn't have college plans, I couldn't imagine my life without it. And the example that I've made has opened up doors for my 2 nephews, and it's even opened up doors for my sister, who's 5 years older than me, who will be receiving her associate's degree at the end of this month. I could recall the smile on my mother's face when I got my first job and told her that I would be working in San Francisco. She was really excited because one of her dreams was to work in a large city with tall buildings, and so I had accomplished her dreams. I was really excited about the experience that I put on my father's face because of the sacrifice that he made and all that additional overtime. When I graduated from college and I got my first job, the salary that I made more than him with my first job than he ever thought that he would make. And he was proud in it. So college opened up doors that I couldn't even imagine. I got my first job at Charles Schwab and Kaiser as a financial analyst, and as I mentioned, I had a very large salary. I was just blowing money. It was just because I didn't know the whole concept of it. And then I realized that, it wasn't about the money, it wasn't about the title. I really just wanted to help people get the opportunities that I received. And so I decided to take a pay cut. I took 1/3% of a pay cut and went back and actually worked for Inroads, the organization that I mentioned. And at that time, EY was outsourcing their diversity. And so I worked with Inroads for about 2.5 years before Ernst & Young asked me to come work for them to lead their diversity efforts. And although 2 years before I had took a 30% pay cut, when I went back to work for Ernst & Young, the bump that I received in salary, it was like I never missed a beat. And now I work from home 100% of the time. And my mother, she doesn't understand how I don't have to have a commute. You know, it costs more to pay to go to work and have lunch than it actually does for the money that you make. And so for the fact that I have the ability to do all that from home, it's just some great benefits. One of the benefits that I'm really excited about that I received from Ernst & Young is I've used my passion for music and networking to bridge the gap to help the firm. And so like you mentioned, Alvin, going to the liking Kanye West. I remember the first time I took C-suite executives to the Kanye West concert, to the Usher concert, to the Nicki Minaj concert, to Kevin Hart. I even took some clients to Oprah and also took my mom and my sister with me. But I did all of that on EY because I was able to bridge my passion, bring my whole self to work, and find ways that benefited the firm. And so it's just great to be able to have those type of benefits. So I'm going to wrap things up and take some questions from you if you all have any of me, because I am an open book. But before I do so, I just want to leave you all with some advice. And you already got some great advice from Montana and Alvin, but I have some advice for the parents as well as advice for the students. So I'll start off with the parents. 1, start saving in your child's for your child's future in college right now. And if it's not, it doesn't necessarily just have to be about college. It can also be to support their entrepreneurial dreams. We heard some amazing case competitions before we got here today. And that wasn't just to cram for 3 hours to come and do a 10-minute presentation. Those were actually viable concepts. And so look for ways that you can invest in your child's future. Just like you're here today, continue to be at your child's most important moments when they're receiving rewards or graduating or just something that's really important to you or important to them. My father, he's deceased right now. Well, right now he's not coming back, but my father is deceased. And I still always feel like I have his support because of the sacrifice that he made for me. My mother and my sister and my nephews, everything I do, they're in the audience and they're supporting me. And it helps me to understand that what I do, I don't only do it for them, but I do it for my family too. And then lastly, listen to your child and help to nourish their dreams. If someone says that they can't or they can, they're actually right in both instances. So make sure that you encourage them and continue to motivate them. And so now my advice to the YEOC students, and this is on top of what Montana and Alvin brought to you from their perspective. But my advice is really simple. Remember to go outside and play. Remember in grade school how you had recess? Yeah. And how you just lived and you were free, stress-free? Find the time to do those things. You know, when you start going to college and you have midterms, you're going to be studying long. When you start working in the real world, you're going to be working long hours. Take time to take care of you and go outside and play. Follow your passion because it's your gift. I mentioned to you about my career journey, how I started with a job that I made this much money, and then I left that job and I made that much money, and now I'm at a job where I make this much money, but I also have a quality of life. And so it's not about how much you're going to make, it's what you're passionate about. And when you follow the passion, the money will come. By show of hands, how many of you believe in unicorns? If you don't believe in unicorns, I'm going to encourage you to start believing in unicorns today. And what do I mean by that? I know last month you heard from my good friend Erica Cruz, who works at Snapchat. Many of you are on Pinterest, probably looking at what you're going to wear for your prom, or what style you're going to have for your hair, or what color you're going to do for your nails. Some of you probably took Uber to get here. Many of you may have been on vacation. and use the Airbnb bed and breakfast. All those are unicorn companies. All those are companies that no one thought or knew that there was a need for, and now they are making billions of dollars. So start believing in unicorns. And last but not least, in the words of NABA, lift as you climb. You are YEOC alumni right now, but eventually, and some of you have already started, you'll be here delivering this keynote address. And so it's not about only you making it, hashtag, it's we made it. So always remember that on your road to success to reach back and bring someone with you. So with that, I just want to say once again, thank you for this opportunity. And in the words of Drake, I'm so proud of you.